I want us to get a little vulnerable here for a second, all right?
Okay.
It's the center, or it is our giant question of the show. What scares you the most about the Panthers and tomorrow night?
Oh, Bobrovsky getting better. I mean, that is obviously a huge worry at the end of the day. Like, this is a guy who had, I believe, his save percentage going into that third period of game 3 was at like a 970, right around there. And since then, his save percentage just started with a 7. He's not that bad. We all know that.
Mhm.
So the worry for me is what can he climb back to? I don't think he can get right back to those heights, but I think improvement is surely on the horizon for him. So that's my biggest scare, is just Bob being better.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with that. And I mean, we're going to talk with Frank in like 35 minutes here on the show. And his kind of take today, not to fully steal it or spoil it, was like, hey, look back at that game last time. Like, Bob gives up the goal on the ice. Bob gives up a shorthanded breakaway to Connor
Mhm.
Brown, which, like, again, he made a good move, but like Bob was denying those left, right, and center earlier on in the series. Like, Florida, there were moments in that game where Edmonton had Florida on their heels. There were moments in that game where Edmonton had where the Panthers had the
Yeah.
Oilers on their heels. There were, if we're being objective and honest with ourselves, there were more moments in that game where Edmonton was scrambling back on their heels, where Edmonton was turning over pucks that they shouldn't. And that's, I think, where the concern comes in is like, yes, the Oil have won 2 games in a row. Sergei Bobrovsky's struggles have had a lot to do with it. And Sergei Bobrovsky has rarely, over the last 14 months, if you want to call it that, he's rarely been bad for 1 game, never mind 2 games, never mind
Mhm.
a potential 3rd game in a row. So, there some of it is glass half full, glass half empty
Mhm.
kind of approach. But if you were to say, Tyler, what's maybe the worst possible thing that could happen tomorrow night? It's Bob getting hot again, because this is a Florida team that knows how to win, even though optimism is high. And I believe the Oilers are the better team when they're playing at their best. Florida's really damn good, and we can't ignore that. Game 1 of that series, Edmonton pours it on. They managed to win. Game 2, Florida was unbelievable. Game 3, Florida was really, really good. And Lyle says Bob's getting tired. And again, that's more of the glass half full kind of approach. There's 2 days off in between every game right now. He has plenty
Yeah.
of time to rest up. And again, my concern there, I think the special teams can stay in advantage of the Oilers. I think we'll continue to get insane production from McDavid because he's just locked into one of those zones right now. But I don't know if we're going to continue to get a struggling Sergei Bobrovsky.
Yeah. They just gotta keep doing what they're doing, I guess, right? I don't think like people were suggesting that Bob is broken. I think the Oilers didn't magically find a weakness in Bobrovsky's game. Like, I think it's just always there. They're just managing to execute on it a little bit better. Again, I said this yesterday. I wonder what that save on Nugent-Hopkins at the end of the game could do for Bobrovsky's confidence, because that was a huge
Mm-hmm.
stop. So I'm curious to see. The Oilers just gonna have to get to him early again. And like you said, like, the Oilers were probably on the back foot a little bit more. And the frustrating part, I think, about game 5, when the Oilers were kind of coughing up pucks and everything, is they were up 3-1.
Yeah.
The confidence should have been in their favor. They shouldn't have been making plays like that.
Yeah, I agree. And hopefully, again, not that we haven't done this song and dance 100 times, but like on that one goal specifically where Holloway doesn't get it out, Bouchard's flying the zone because he
Yeah.
thinks it's going to get out, which, like, most of the time I'd be like, that's not really on Bouch. He thinks that's going. The Oilers are supposed to play a fast pace, keep things pushed in the right direction kind of hockey and skate down the other team's throat. But you're up 3-0 in a Stanley Cup final game if you're Evan Bouchard. You can't just have blind faith that puck's going to get out. You got to
Yeah.
hang back. And if you're Draisaitl, you can't just have blind faith that it's going to get out. You need to be aware and go, Bouch is up there. Holloway's pinned to the boards. Someone's behind me. Matt Tkachuk's always behind you, right? He loves being
Yeah.
that kind of sneaky in the weeds kind of player. So there were some tough moments in that game, and hopefully it's, again, on the glass half full side of things, which is, listen, Florida played very good last game
Hmm.
and Bob played very bad, but I think we'd all say that was not Edmonton's best effort. And if they give their best effort like they did in game 4 of this series, then this thing's going 7.
Yeah. I would agree. I think the first part of that game, we saw some really good spots from them. But yeah, it needs to be longer. And I mean, to give Florida credit, it's difficult to play for
Mm-hmm.
that long of a game. Like, I think game 4 was a bit of an anomaly, I guess you could say. Like, I don't think anyone's expecting another 8-1 game in this series. Like, or are you?
Oh my God. And I know I said, like, there would be something about going to Florida and stealing a game you're not
Hmm.
supposed to that would cause Florida to really, really panic. And I stand by that. And I ultimately think that's what played out. I'm now back to the other side where if you want to cause Florida the most panic, you beat the ever-loving hell out of them tomorrow night. Like, if you win when
Yeah.
you're not supposed to, I honestly think Florida is sitting there with, as strange as this might sound, a weird amount of confidence heading into Game 7, going, okay, we've actually played 2 good games now. We knew this was going to be a tough series. If we copy and paste it a third time, we're not losing 3 straight to this team.
Yeah.
Where we have our game. If you go and hammer them tomorrow, and it's 3-0 early, and that building is just on a totally different decibel level and totally different stratosphere, and you just continue it right through the end of that game, Florida's sitting there going, oh my God, they've handled our best punch. Oh my God, we've now proven we can't handle theirs.
I saw some Florida fans tweet, and they've made it onto my algorithm now, about how there was a couple of things. One of them is not even worth conversation, just addressing how the others are a one-man team. And somebody commented, is like, 15 of our players got points in game 4 against you guys. It's like, yeah, but that was a one-off game. It's okay, whatever. And the other one was how the others just capitalizing on all of Florida's mistakes, which I thought was very interesting, because obviously we think that, but I feel like the Oilers' errors are way more apparent than what Florida is doing. Like, you look back at, let's just look at game 5. Obviously, a shorthanded breakaway. Sure, that's a mistake, but it's a good finish at the end of the day. Then there was a power play goal, another power play goal, which was one of the best power play goals we'll see in playoff history from Perry, from what McDavid did. And then
not much of what Perry did.
yeah, from McDavid, sorry. And what was the other one? Power play, shorthanded.
Boosh off the knee.
Hyman, yeah, I guess.
And then McDavid on the ice.
Yeah, so 2 of those goals are mistakes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the Oilers are bouncing off their mistakes. I feel like the Oilers are actually having to work pretty hard to get some goals here.
Yep, I agree with that. And that's, I think if you were to go through a lot of the goals in this series, I mean, the Connor Brown goal, like, if we're trying to just look at this as objectively as we can, that is a dumb pass by Brandon Montour.
But a great anticipation from Brown.
Yeah, great anticipation from Brown, and that's kind of what you're taught to do, right? Like, your stick behind to give him the illusion of the lane and then swing it up like that. It's good that he shot that way as well, because if he was the other way, he wouldn't have been able to, like, swing it up like that. So being able to have that sneak of the stick coming in, and then, again, Barkov, like, what the hell are you doing? And the Ekman-Larson mistake at the end of the game, thinking the puck was in and giving up, that probably doesn't end up impacting things all that much. So there were mistakes on Florida's end, but I do think for the most part, Edmonton had to work harder for their goals, but Florida was better at being opportunistic. Like, again, Matt Tkachuk gets that puck off the turnover, labels it in the top corner. Edmonton fumbles it, it goes back down low. Tkachuk puts it on a tee for OEL, labels it into the top corner. So I do think you need to give Florida some credit for being opportunistic, but still, I think the point stands, and this was my point coming into the series, and even though I maybe wavered from it a bit after games 2 and 3, I'm back on. If Edmonton is at their A, it does not matter what Florida is at. Edmonton at their A wins that game tomorrow night. What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.